Today we're continuing in our stewardship series. We felt that it would be good to start the year considering how we take care of the things in our life, how we take care of including material possessions, but also how we take care of the people and relationships in our life, and how we spend our time, which I'm going to talk about today. So I know many of you have made some New Year's resolutions, or maybe if some people are against writing down specific goals, but you might have an idea in your mind of what you'd like to see this year, what you'd like to develop or what you'd like to change. And probably no matter what, it involves something about how you use your time. Whether you use that time investing into a new venture or into relationships. So I've been thinking about time. This week, my youngest daughter, my little baby, turned 7. This is her when she was just born 7 years ago. I can't believe it. And then in my Google memories, this picture popped up from 3 years ago. It was the day before her 4th birthday. And we were at Washington Park. And it was a nice warm day, just probably hundreds of people out. And I mean, I say it's a nice warm day, but it was probably like 50 and sunny. And most kids had boots and jackets and things. And Annalise was running around in her swimsuit. And I was carrying boots and a jacket with me, not because I thought she would want them, but just so that other parents wouldn't judge me too hard, to at least show that I was not neglectful. But she had a blast. This is like such an encapsulation of her character in this photo. And then this is her Monday on her birthday. Time is weird, isn't it? I don't get it. I can't even really call her a little kid anymore. I feel like once you're 7, you enter kiddom, and you're not a baby anymore. So there's that. But then also, I realize that I am nearing 40 years old. And this is the time, yes, very exciting. And I'm not there yet, so maybe it hasn't hit me, but I do know this is like a phenomena that when people hit 40 years old, is often when they have a midlife crisis. It's at that point when people are faced with this numerical reality that they're not going to be young forever. In fact, they probably aren't really that young anymore. And that even if they live a long life, their life is close to half over, or might already be. So it's this it's this number. They call it, what is that, over the hill? The time is finite. And I think that when you can't escape that, people start to think, what did I do with the first half of my life? Am I happy with how I've spent the time that I've had so far? And am I doing the things that I really care about and that's going to make a difference for the rest of my life? And is that going to be me? I don't know. I think about that more often than some people, but without even realizing it, most people feel at the mercy of time. We either never have enough of it, or we have it and we wish it would pass faster, or we realize we haven't been using it on the things that we really wanted to. Nevertheless, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And we actually have the power. In fact, we were designed to be the masters of our time. So in Genesis 1:28, we learn that God originally created us to be fruitful, to multiply, and to have dominion, to be lords of all creation, or in essence, to be good stewards. So this is an excerpt from the Divine Principle. The meaning of God's third blessing is the perfection of a human being's dominion over the natural world. To fulfill this blessing, the four-position foundation of dominion must be established centered on God. Human beings in the natural world, which are the substantial object partners of God at the level of image and symbol respectively, must share love and beauty to become completely one. Essentially saying that humanity and the world should not be separate or have different goals. There should be sharing love and beauty to become one. Therefore, when human beings realize God's third blessing, the entire universe becomes yet another good object partner, giving joy to God. Had God's purpose of creation been realized in this way, an ideal world without even a trace of sin would have been established on the earth. But we often limit our idea of dominion simply to the earth, the natural world, our resources, plants, animals, our possessions. But we understand from the principle that actually God is talking about the whole cosmos, including spiritual realm, angels, as well as money, which represents all things, and time. So this was the kind of the idea, the original design that we were created with. We have this potential within us. Unfortunately, because of the fall, we have been struggling to attain these three blessings. We've been struggling to mature our hearts and to be fruitful. We've been struggling to share true love with those around us in our relationships, which is to multiply. And we've been struggling to care for and manage all things with God's heart. Dominion and stewardship. So essentially, all of the struggles that we have in our life, any difficulty we can think of, any frustration, falls into one of these categories, don't they? But nevertheless, we were designed with a capability to be victorious in all of these areas. So in relationship to time, how can we be better stewards of our time? This is a really lovely quote by Mrs. Moon, our true mother. Always be aware that your life on earth is temporary. After we complete our physical lives, we will ascend to the spiritual world. In that place, we are not measured by our wealth or power. I think many times we want those things. We feel comforted if we can get these things, but it's often at that midlife crises or point where we're faced with this reality, like, oh, actually, maybe the money that I've been looking for, the status that I've been looking for is not actually what's going to make me happy. So we're not measured by our wealth or power. We are measured simply by our capacity for true love and the extent to which we lived our lives on earth in service to God and humanity. So, first of all, let's look at where we currently spend our time. I think that where we spend our time is especially telling. Also, where we spend our money, but today we're looking at time. Where we spend our time can give us information about ourselves we might not be so conscious of. So, especially outside of our responsibilities, when you have a free weekend, or when you're done with your jobs for the day, when you have a moment where there's no pressing responsibilities, what do we usually do with that time? Do we try to escape a little bit from the stress or pressures of life? Do we look for self-gratification? Do we invest into our family, people around us? What do we first turn to when we have that time? I'll let you answer that question to yourselves. So that is one thing that can tell us a little bit about ourselves. And then, on the other hand, sometimes we think we have very pressing responsibilities and issues to deal with that take up our time. But sometimes, those are also actually distractions from the most important things. I think this is also where these midlife crises come from, where we've been so busy and we're doing all these things, and we realize, even though I thought these were important things, maybe they weren't the most important things. Sometimes, and I don't recommend doing this on a yearly basis or frequently, but occasionally we need to do an entire restructuring of our lives around our priorities. Only you, for yourself, can tell if this is something that you need to do, right? But it's better to do it sooner than at the end of your life. Do you remember when I shared like the top 5 regrets? One nurse spent years in like hospice and nursing homes and would interview older people. And one of the main recurring regrets that people had was, I didn't spend time with the people that I loved. And also, I didn't give permission to myself to be happy. But in thinking of those things ahead of time, we can prevent those kind of regrets at the end, right? So sometimes we need to do a complete restructuring of our priorities, of our days, our time, so that we can put God at the center, and that we can devote the time we need to mature our hearts, develop our relationships, and be good stewards. This is a quote from James chapter 4, verses 13 to 17. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Why? You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. Now, time is a funny thing because we can measure it. We can measure it in years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds. And everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, but we can experience that time very differently. Sometimes it can go very quickly, and we wish we had more of it. Or sometimes it can go so slowly, and we're like, when is this meeting going to be over? When is this day going to be over? But when we're not embracing of the moment, we kind of go 2 ways. We can either resist the experience that we're having, wish that we weren't doing this right now, and then these seconds and minutes and hours seem to be so long. Or sometimes we can distract ourselves and try to escape from them. And we can easily pass hours in our distraction, whatever that might be for you. But then at the end of that time, we look back and we're like, what did I do with my time? This is a quote from our true father, Reverend Moon. People who ignore a moment fail to obtain something precious. They cannot become great people nor inherit God's throne and crown. Thus, for the sake of one bright shining moment, exercise care with each word you utter, each action you take, and even each thought you entertain. Deal with life and solve problems, believing that the contents of your daily life will all remain as phenomena in relationship to the world. That is the only way the realm of victory is determined. And I feel like this is something that meditation and general spirituality has really caught on to. Something that I really got when I was doing yoga a number of years ago was, when you're in an uncomfortable position or stretch and you just want to stop, it's like, take a minute, take a deep breath, experience it, breathe through it, and then let go. And I think so many times when we're in an uncomfortable situation or we're experiencing something we wish we weren't experiencing, we want to separate ourselves from it. But when we do that, we lose the value of the lesson that's in that moment. We might be grateful it's over when it's done, but I've often found that when I allow myself to be in a difficult conversation or physical discomfort or even a meeting that I don't want to be in, and I just accept that I'm there, allow myself to be there, then at the end of it, there's usually something valuable that I've gained, even though I didn't enjoy it. I really like this quote. So it's like, deal with life and solve problems. We can't escape all the difficulties. But let's face them. Believing that even through this difficulty, the efforts that I make, the care that I bring to the table or that I bring to this conversation, it's not just for me. There's actually an impact that leaves in this world. There's an impact it leaves on the people that I'm with. There's a difference made in the world because of how I related to life in this moment. That is the only way the realm of victory is determined. So when we're trying to avoid, when we're not embracing of the moment, time can drag on, it can be difficult. However, I think we've also all had the experience of when we're fully present in a moment, we actually don't, time becomes irrelevant. We don't even become aware of how time is passing. Maybe it goes very quickly, or maybe a small moment can seem so huge because you're so invested in this moment. But either way, time is not, it's not a factor in the experience. This is one more quote from our true Father. Oop, I passed it somehow. Now I'm out of my... Mark, you back there? Could you pull it back up, please? I need my last, was it 2 slides? I know for myself, when I'm playing with my bees, I have a couple of beehives, and I just enjoy it so much. I forget that I'm in the middle of Denver. It doesn't matter where I am. It also doesn't matter how much time is passing. I think, I'm just going to go in and do a little hive check and find the queen and see how the honey is coming along. Take me 30 minutes. And before I know it, the sun is setting and my kids are like, are we having dinner tonight? I don't want to tell you how many times that's happened. Okay. Oh, it appears that I didn't put my last quote in, so that was my bad. Thank you, Mark. Okay, my last quote by Reverend Moon says, "We don't know how much time we have, how many crucial moments have passed, how many you've seized. Though I think you all must have seized a couple, considering you are here, so good for you. But how many more will you get? You might think that you are older and you are running out of my opportunities or crucial moments. Or you may think, I am young and I have plenty of time to figure it out. And you might be really nonchalant. Here's the key. Both are irrelevant. Both are irrelevant when you face the reality that all we have is the present moment and what we do with it right now. And I'm sorry I don't have it up for you. I think I'm going to read it one more time. We don't know how much time we have, how many crucial moments have passed, how many you've seized, though I think you all must have seized a couple considering you are here. How many more will you get? You might think that you are older and you are running out, or you may think, I'm young and I have plenty of time to figure it out, and you might be really nonchalant. Both are irrelevant when you face the reality that all we have is the present moment and what we do with it right now. So this was very comforting to me and really helped me this weekend. I have to say I was feeling quite overwhelmed this weekend. I had a school event to organize for Friday, a couple of things happening yesterday. Annalise's birthday party's this afternoon, and I tend to overdo myself with cakes, and this year we made a piñata and kind of forgot how many hours it takes to put little tissue paper squares on a piñata. And so, it's like midnight last night, we're trying to finish things up, but I've got a message for tomorrow. Like these kind of things. When I think of all week, I've been kind of stressed out about this weekend because I've been thinking about all the things I have to do and feeling the weight of that, even though in that moment, right, that's not what I was facing. And now I'm almost at the end of this weekend, and I was like, it wasn't that bad. I actually enjoyed a number of those activities, and I realized that it's my own stressing about the future, worrying about the past that kind of takes me out of the present moment. So I wasn't thinking about preparing this message for myself, but it was a very good message to give to myself. I love this sentence. Both are irrelevant when you face the reality that all we have is the present moment and what we do with it right now. And I think that if we can remind ourselves, and it takes a reminder, we can't just listen to a message once or read a quote once and be like, okay, I got it. I'm the master of my time now. I think sometimes we want to have that experience. We want to just be like, okay, I'm changed. I've overcome. But then we get mad at ourselves. We get frustrated when we don't live up to our expectations. And it doesn't need to be that way. We can accept that we're on a path of growth and that we're working towards it. And sometimes it's just good to have a reminder that all we have is the present moment and what we're going to do with it right now. So I think that if we can make effort to do that, even if we just once a week stop and be like, okay, what am I doing right now, and what moment do I have, and what am I going to do with it? I think that can make an incredible difference in the way we experience life. And those moments when we are fully present, actually, I feel like create a new future. As that quote said, everything that we do creates a phenomenon in the world. Even if I can't live in every moment fully present, the times that I do make an impact for my future. They make an impact if I'm fully present in a conversation with my spouse or with a friend. That's something we both feel. And that creates a difference in my relationship for the future that wasn't there before that moment. So I think I don't give this message to make you feel guilty if you feel like you've wasted time or that you're not using your time well enough. As True Father says, that's irrelevant. But it's just to give a reminder, an encouragement that we're all here today. We're all alive. We have our life, we have each other, we might think that we know what's ahead of us, what my plans are, what my stressors are going to be, and the challenges I have to overcome, but maybe yes, maybe no. But either way, all I have right now is this present moment. So I think that with these reminders, we can become better stewards of our time. We can, even in these small moments, create a more beautiful, exciting, lived well 2023. So thank you so much for being here, and that's my message. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, good morning. Thank you so much for this Sunday and this moment. I'm so grateful for everybody who chose to take this day and this time to be here, to be open to what you might want to say to them today. Heavenly Parent, I pray that you can use this message, use the music that we have today, use the fellowship and sharing that we spend with each other today to be fully present in those moments and see that there is a beauty just in the fact that we are alive, able to experience life, able to experience your love, and that we're actually able to share that as well. We want to thank you for today, and we offer this time that we're present here with you back to you, and I offer this prayer in my name, Michael and Adonia Hendrick, blessed and chill family. Amen and adieu. Okay, thank you, everybody.